You are interfering with a federal investigation. Step aside now or you will be arrested.
I know my rights, and I am not going anywhere until I speak with my client.
The thing about real respect is that you can't buy it, you can't fake it, and you certainly can't take it away from someone who earned it. But for a long time I let people try. This happened last summer, maybe the hottest week of the year, at Capitol Gateway Airport, and it's the day I learned that sometimes all it takes is 3 guys in cheap suits and a well-timed salute to make a big shot. Bully's whole world collapsed. My name is Alara Vance, I'm 47. A retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, 20 years in intelligence, counterterrorism, that kind of thing. I wasn't flying for vacation. I was headed to a sensitive briefing. The kind where the documents in your briefcase are quite literally stamped with words like eyes only and code red. I'd left my suburban DC home at 5 a.m., checked into the executive lounge, and spent 2 hours reviewing threat assessments on the most uncomfortable leather sofa you can imagine. My daughter, who's at West Point, texted me, "Crush M. Mom, you got this." That was my last moment of peace. I got to Gate 7, first-class boarding area, right on time for my 9:45 flight to Omaha. I was wearing my best tailored navy blue suit, the one that still makes me feel like I could command a brigand on my lapel. I wore my grandfather's silver Mustang pin. He earned it in Korea. It's small, but it catches the light, and it reminds me that dignity is non-negotiable. The gate agent, a sweet woman named Sophia, scanned my e-ticket, and then, of course, the thick, government-issued travel binder. Everything was smooth sailing until he showed up. His name was Ronan Mills. He was a TSA supervisor, and he had that heavy, self-important swagger that only truly small men ever master. Ronan was maybe 35, pale, perpetually sweating under the terminal lights, and his uniform looked 2 sizes too tight. He had that weary, cynical look of a man who'd decided 8 years ago that the world owed him something and was now taking it out on everyone passing through his checkpoint. He walked over, clipboard in hand, and cut Sophia off mid, planting himself right between me and the counter. "Ma'am, I'm gonna need to see those documents again," he grunted, his voice flat. I looked him straight in the eye, the way I learned to look at men who thought they were bigger than me back when I was a captain in a very male-dominated world, and I kept my voice steady. "Professional. Officer, the gate agent has verified my Pentagon clearance. Is there a specific security concern?" That was my first mistake, using the word specific. It's a challenge to their authority, and people like Ronan live for authority. "The concern," he drawled, snatching the boarding pass and my thick, sealed travel binder right out of Sophia's trembling hand, "is that these look highly suspicious. Government travel to Omaha, first class. This looks like a copy and paste job, ma'am. Did you print this at the Staples down the road this morning?" The heat in the terminal suddenly felt personal. I felt my jaw tighten. "Mr. Mills, those seals are authentic. I am Lieutenant Colonel Alara Vance, retired, traveling on active consultation for a matter of national security. You are delaying a high-priority mission." He barked a laugh aloud, hollow sound that made people turn around. "National security," she says. "Lady, your suit is too cheap for first class. Your luggage looks used, and I'm willing to bet that little silver bird you're wearing is stolen valor. People like you try to scam the system every day. Step aside." And just like that, the mask was off. It wasn't about the documents, was it? It was about my suit, my skin, and the audacity I had to be standing there with a first-class ticket, outranking him in every measurable way. I knew the script. I'd seen it before. I reached for my phone, instinctively, to record, but Ronan was faster. He slapped the clipboard down on the counter with a loud crack, reached out and grabbed my briefcase, which was actually handcuffed to my wrist. I didn't resist, not physically, not yet. I was trained to let them escalate, to force them to cross every line on tape. "I'm confiscating this bag," he announced to the growing crowd, his voice shaking with a sudden, ugly fury. "I believe it contains contraband and fraudulent documents. We are moving to secondary screening." "Officer, do not touch that bag," I warned, the steel in my voice finally cutting through. "Those are classified materials. You do not have the clearance, and you are violating federal law." But he just smirked, a cruel, satisfied little twist of his lips. He gave the briefcase a vicious yanker move, so unnecessary, so personal that the cheap leather tore right where the zipper met the handle. And then he did the unforgivable. He didn't just open it, he emptied it. He tipped the briefcase upside down and shook it hard, letting months of highly sensitive, meticulously compiled intelligence data rain down onto the dirty, linoleum floor of Gate 7. Photos of foreign military installations, complex algorithms, handwritten notes on threat analysis or mixing with my spare change, a used coffee cup, and a tube of lipstick. The crowd gasped. I saw a few people filming. Even the other TSA agents who had sauntered over Agent Kim and Agent Chavez looked genuinely horrified, exchanging nervous glances. Ronan looked down at the scattered papers, his chest heaving, triumphant. Then he spotted one specific document, a large map overlaid with a highly classified network diagram, marked with the 5-star general's seal. He planted the heel of his boot right on top of it. "Look at this Hollywood prop," he sneered, grinding his foot into the paper, crushing the general's seal. This fake movie garbage. Lady, you are now under arrest for impersonating a federal official and inciting a disturbance. I knelt down slowly, keeping my eyes fixed on Ronan's face, my hand steady as I began to gather the ruined papers. Blood was rushing behind my eyes, and I had to physically breathe through the rage. He'd insulted me. He'd assaulted me. But crushing that seal, that was a desecration. That was crossing a line I couldn't ignore. I looked up at him, my voice barely a whisper but cold enough to freeze water. Mr. Mills, you have just single-handedly compromised national security on the level of a foreign operative. This stops now. I am formally requesting immediate federal intervention. He laughed again, a high-pitched manic sound. I am the federal intervention, ma'am. You people love to talk big, but today, you're just trash on my floor. That's when the radio on his belt, the one he hadn't yet destroyed, started squawking. Not with a routine update, but with a sharp, professional voice that cut through the noise. Supervisor Mills, this is Central Command. FBI escort detail is at the main checkpoint, requesting immediate priority access to Gate 7. They are here for a Pentagon principal. Respond immediately. Ronan's face, already flushed, drained completely. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. His whole aggressive posture dissolved into frantic, desperate confusion. And that's when I knew the cavalry was coming, and this arrogant little tyrant was about to learn a very hard lesson about who he was really messing with. Ronan didn't even have time to key his mic. He just stood there, hyperventilating, trying to process the idea that a Pentagon principal, the very kind of VIP he accused me of impersonating, was actually on their way to my gate. His colleagues, Agents Kim and Chavez, visibly backed away, suddenly very interested in the ceiling tiles. I rose slowly from the ground, my movements deliberate, clutching the crumpled intelligence reports to my chest. I didn't look at Ronan. I looked past him, down the long corridor of the terminal. The crowd parted, and then I saw them. 3 men in identical dark expensive suits, not the off-the-rack kind, but perfectly tailored, moving with the unmistakable no-nonsense rhythm of actual federal agents. They weren't TSA, they weren't airport police, they were FBI. The lead agent, a woman named Special Agent Vance, had sharp eyes that scanned the entire scene in one sweeping assessment. The terrified gate agent, the horrified crowd, the humiliated me, the scattered classified documents, and Ronan, shaking like a leaf. Ronan, in a last-ditch effort to salvage his little kingdom, straightened his tie and pointed a trembling finger at me. Officers, good. You're finally here. I have apprehended a highly dangerous subject attempting to smuggle fraudulent documents onto a flight. I recommend immediate detention and full strip search. Special Agent Vance didn't even glance at him. She just kept walking, her gaze locked on me. She stopped precisely 6 feet away. Then, the thing happened. She snapped to attention, not the lazy, half-hearted attention of a rent-a-cop, but the crisp, precise, military attention you only see in the armed forces. And she raised her hand in a flawless, bone-shattering, full military salute. Lieutenant Colonel Vance, she announced, her voice ringing clear over the sudden, absolute silence of the terminal. Special Agent Vance, Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are here for your scheduled escort to the Joint Chiefs briefing. Ma'am, we apologize for the delay. Her 2 colleagues instantly followed suit. 3 sharp salutes, held unwavering, directed not at the sweating, pompous supervisor, but at the black woman in the wrinkled suit, standing in a pile of her own national security documents. The sound the crowd made wasn't a gasp. It was a collective "oh." It was the sound of instant, undeniable vindication. I saw phones held high, capturing every single angle of Ronan's world imploding. I returned their salute a quick, practiced gesture and tried to keep the emotion out of my voice. At ease, agents, thank you for your punctuality. Despite the complications, Ronan just stood there, his mouth hanging open, his face changing color from scarlet to a sickly pale green. He tried to speak, but only a dry little squeak came out. Agent Vance finally turned to him, her expression a mask of professional ice. And you are? I'm Supervisor Ronan Mills. I was following standard protocol for a suspicious passenger. Suspicious passenger, Agent Vance repeated, looking pointedly at the general's seal he had crushed under his boot. Or were you assaulting a decorated war hero and compromising active top-secret intelligence by illegally searching a federal officer's private effects? Ronan's panic broke through. I didn't know. She looked. Anyone could have faked those. I was protecting the American people. You were violating the civil rights of the American people. Mr. Mills, Agent Vance corrected. My colleagues will be securing this classified material. You, sir, are now under arrest for assault, interference with national security operations, and violations of Title 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. The handcuffs clicked. The sound was deafening. He went limp, his supervisor badge, the small metal token of his temporary power, suddenly looking pathetic on his chest. As he was being led away, screaming pathetic denials about conspiracy and fake news, Agent Kim, the nervous agent who'd backed away, quietly approached Agent Vance. Agent Vance, Kim whispered, holding up her body camera. Just for the record, I have 47 separate complaints on file for Mr. Mills. All involved passengers of color. Management buried them. Agent Vance just nodded, her eyes lingering on Ronan's retreating figure. We know we'll be reviewing every single one. Thank you, Agent Kim. They walked Ronan away, right past the applauding, cheering crowd, the very people he had tried to intimidate. It was a beautiful, cinematic moment of instant justice, and my God, it felt good. Later that day, I crushed the briefing. My analysis helped prevent a potential disaster at sea, saving lives. But the real change happened here. Ronan's arrest and subsequent conviction at years in federal prison for civil rights violations tore the curtain back on systemic issues. That one viral video, that one salute, exposed dozens of other Ronans across the country, leading to what Congress eventually passed, the Civilian Dignity Act, mandating quarterly bias training and external oversight of TSA. Now, years later, I wear my grandfather's pin every day. It's not about the rank anymore. It's about the truth. Dignity is not what others give you. It is what you absolutely refuse to surrender. Ronan Mills learned that the hard way, in an orange jumpsuit. So tell me, what would you have done? If you were standing at that gate, witnessing a blatant abuse of power, would you have stepped up like those passengers and started filming, even if it meant missing your flight? Or do you think the federal government should have done more, much sooner, to prevent men like Ronan from getting that kind of unchecked authority in the first place? Let me know in the comments below. Use hashtag #EarnYourSalute and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories where real power always trumps cheap authority. Your voice matters.